Hi, and welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and for the next hour, we are going to talk about sensational seniors, also, more specifically, the Council on Aging. But before we begin, as usual, I have a few little housekeeping things I need to take care of. If you would like to give us a call this evening when we get into our conversation, you are more than welcome to give us a call at 781-270-9199. Or you can always email me at talk@bcattv.org. And as usual, I would like to thank the volunteers and crew for this evening. We have staff member Corey McNeil, who helps keep this place running and make sure all the volunteers don't get lost and know exactly what they're doing. So thank you, Corey. And I would also like to thank Colleen Moore, Director Extraordinaire. Thank you, Colleen, for giving up your Wednesday evening for ever, it seems, to come and help me out. And I would also like to thank Jolie Atwood and Stephanie Floridas, who have given up their Wednesday evenings to come here and help us out. So thank you very much. And last, definitely not least, I want to thank my husband Paul for staying home for Daddy Date Night. Hope you were having fun and hope the children went to bed without too much of an argument. Now, I would like to thank my wonderful guest for this evening, who is no stranger to BCAT, I would like to say. We have Marge McDonald, who is the director of the Burlington Council on Aging.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. It's like I see you on TV all the time, and it's like I want to see you in real life, you know?
And here I am.
Is it live or is it Memorex?
I think it's live this time.
It's live this time. So, to start out, as I do with all of my guests, just because everybody at home gets to see me all the time, but they might not get to see you all the time. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to the Burlington area if you did not grow up around here, and what pathway led you to being director at the Council on Aging?
Okay, absolutely. So I almost grew up next door.
Almost.
Almost. We moved to Lexington when I was 9. We bopped around a lot before that time. My dad
Military,
worked.
or?
No, he was an advisor.
Oh, okay.
So he started working for the Ford Foundation and then moved over to the Harvard Institute for International Development.
Ooh, okay.
So I spent, we spent 3 years living in D.C. when I was really little, and then 2 years in Ghana. And then 2 years in Kenya, and then moved back here at 9. So I grew up in Lexington.
That's quite the experience.
Yeah. So I wouldn't call it my hometown, but almost grew up there.
Close enough.
Close enough. I was trying to take easy classes getting through high school. One of the A's, not necessarily the depth, and they caught on to me, so they made me take a class with Mrs. Zimmerman.
Okay.
In Lexington. I'll never forget her. She was awesome, but made me really do some work.
What class was it?
It was social studies.
Oh, okay.
And so I did some papers on the tenements and social workers that went into the tenements, and thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do. Even though there's no tenements anymore, that's what I wanted to do. Help the immigrants in the tenements in New York and Boston. So decided I wanted to be a social worker. Unfortunately, I got into the wrong program in school and ended up losing interest and dropping out for a while. And then got married, had my lovely daughter, Rachel.
Excellent.
And went back to school and went to Middlesex, got my associates, and then went on from there to Lesley and majored in human services. And during my internships, I did an internship at the North Cambridge Senior Center.
I'm starting to see the path here.
And absolutely fell in love with working with the seniors, teaching classes, serving their meals, just doing whatever, just talking to them. I taught a quilting class to several of them.
And you know how to quilt?
I do know how to quilt,
Wow.
yes. So just fell in love with it. The director of the Cambridge Council on Aging came to visit one day and said, well, we have a project. Would you like to come and work with us? And I said, absolutely. So my next internship was actually at the Council on Aging in Central Square.
Oh, okay.
And I worked on.
Is it still there?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Both senior centers and the Council on Aging are still there, and helped to get their transportation for the seniors online, which was really cool. Didn't really realize what I was doing at the time. You know, it was just like, we need you to do this, we need you to do that. I'm like, okay, whatever.
All right. Yeah.
And I had such a great time.
Excellent.
And so decided that's what I wanted to do. I ended up after school, graduated when I was an old maid of 31, and late bloomer. But
I think you appreciate it more when you.
Yeah, I did. And I think I worked harder, and I liked having my daughter see me studying for it and understanding the importance of your education, especially for a goal. Not necessarily just for education's sake, but for the goal too. Mm-hmm. So then I went to go work for Minuteman Senior Services. Okay. I'm doing information referral, and after that, Elder Services in the Merrimack Valley doing the same thing. Okay. And working on their volunteer transportation program. You know, hooking people up to the
because you have experience doing.
Yes, and after 5 years, I was so burnt out. Ooh. And was really at the point like, I need to quit. I cannot do this anymore.
Wow.
And my Girl Scout co-leader hands me a little ad and says, "Is this what you want to do?" And lo and behold, there's the Council on Aging advertisement for a new coordinator. And I'm like,
perfect.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not ready yet. I was doing graduate school.
Oh.
Getting my going for my master's in public administration, hoping to kind of line myself up for this position. Living in Billerica, thinking, oh, I'll work in Billerica. This came up. I applied. They brought me in for a couple interviews, and lo and behold, 14 years later, here I am.
Wow, because that was my next question. How long have you been?
14 years.
So, did you start the job before finishing your master's?
I did.
Okay.
Yep. Finished my master's 2006 maybe.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, what exactly is your role at the Council on Aging? What do you do?
So I am in charge.
Other than everything.
Of everything. Yeah. I basically my job is to make sure everything runs smoothly.
Okay.
To make sure that not that it does, but there's too many moving parts. Making sure that the seniors have activities, that we have social services. Okay. So we have the keys, of course, to keeping seniors healthy is engagement, social engagement. Okay. Keep them moving. I always like to say that just getting out of bed, getting dressed, and coming to the center is exercise. You're moving around.
That's true.
You know, even if you're not able to, you and I obviously work really full days, but folks that are retired and if it may have been sick, had some injuries, have aches and pains, may not move around as much. So sometimes just those little things such as coming in the senior center.
Or even without any aches and pains, it's just so much easier to sit on the couch and read a book or watch TV that eventually you become sedentary.
And once you start sitting on the sofa, your muscles weaken and you start to lose balance, and then the next thing you know, you're falling down.
Not good.
No. I like to say, this is going to sound a little weird, it's going to shock some people. I like to say that my mission is to make sure that everybody dies in bed in their sleep. Not in a hospital, not with an illness, not anything prolonged. You just don't wake up one morning.
I think that's kind of how I'd like to
I think most people want to die that way, and so that's keep people living very, very full lives until that day happens.
Excellent.
And no going to the hospital and no falling, and that's...
Put those hospitals out of business.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's a mission.
Of course, he gives us a lot of money to do things, so,
Okay. Well,
they can work with the trauma victims.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, do you have a staff, or do you have to do this single-handedly and we have to get you a big red cape?
I think we all need big red capes, every one of us. Yes, I have staff. I actually have a pretty good number of staff. Okay. I've added a lot of people over the 14 years I've been here. Okay. So I have 2 receptionists that job share. Okay. And then I have my right arm, who's my clerk. That would be Debbie. And I have...
Call for pickup?
They call us for a pickup. So we do have a schedule because we have a lot of people that do the same things every
Okay,
Monday.
so
They
it's
do the
not
same
really a
things every
taxi
Tuesday.
service, but it's not just stand on the street corner and wave us
Right,
down.
it's door to door.
Okay.
Yeah. But you have the same people coming in for exercise classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The same three outreach workers. So basically, it equals 2 full-time outreach workers. I have my full-time outreach worker, and then I have 2 part-time. Nope.
Oh,
They
okay.
work at the same hours, basically.
Okay.
Not a lot goes on in the afternoon, so everybody comes in the morning. We're busy in the morning.
Okay.
The one I just hired, we have Brenda, who's our full-time.
Okay.
Andrea, who I hired back in January, is part-time.
Okay.
And she's actually funded partly through the town and partly through the money we get from the state.
Okay.
And then we have Urvi Argawala, who just started last week, and she is funded 100% by the Cummings Foundation.
Ooh. Now, is this a grant that you had to apply for?
It is. It was a lot of work. It was hard, but yes. $100,000, and I asked for it to be over the 4-year period.
Okay.
Completely covers her, covers any extra costs, and covers the costs of what she's going to be doing, hopefully, for the most part. So she's, it's called 100,000 for 100. So every year they give out 100 grants of 100,000 each.
Oh.
Super, super generous folks.
You know what? I think my guest 2 shows ago on metastatic breast cancer received a Cummings grant.
They have.
Because she was talking about that,
Yeah.
and in lieu of the money, she asked for office space.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's
What a
awesome.
small world.
Yeah.
Now,
actually,
do you plan on
please about it last
reapplying
year.
for this in 4 years?
No,
Are you allowed to do that?
it's more of a one-time thing. It may be something I can apply for something different down the road, but it wouldn't be for the same thing. So Urvi, the newest, is she's Southeast Asian, Indian. She's working with that population for us.
Okay.
And even more importantly is that she's going to be working with the older unemployed adults. So the folks that are in their 50s and 60s, they got laid off, haven't quite found their jobs, haven't found jobs yet. Even, just because they're older.
Nobody wants to hire somebody who's, 59 years old.
And has lots of talent and experience and never calls out sick because, the kids are sick. Unfortunately, I mean, it's sad, but the companies don't do that. They think they're more expensive. They think they're not going to get longevity out of them. Although I think today's older adults are probably looking towards working well into their 70s, some of them, especially if they haven't been working for a while because savings are gone.
Yep.
So we want to offer whatever they need. To be honest with you, and I wrote this in the grant, I don't know what they need. I don't know if we need to do a job fair or if they're looking for a support group just to kind of,
And when I was unemployed, I found a support group very helpful.
Yeah. Or if we're going to sit down literally and help them find jobs and go through the resumes and whatnot. So we need to kind of sort out what they want from us. So probably in December we'll start to do some
Now, would you do that through
activities.
surveys, or would you do I don't know whether you would call it a focus group, but invite
Yeah, I mean, we're going to
that
invite,
audience?
we're going to basically say, here we're going to have coffee on a Tuesday morning probably, because that's usually when we do our morning things. And come and talk to us and tell us what you think you'd like to get from this situation. And we'll be working with Representative Gordon, who's just filed some legislation, and also with Rick Parker, who's president of the Chamber of Commerce. So we'll be working with both of them on this. I know that the restaurants are really hurting for help, so hopefully we can help to fill that with some folks. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see where we go with this and what comes of it.
Got lots of potential.
Yeah, and it's fun to kind of go into a project and not know what you're going to do with it, and be given those reins to do that.
Yeah,
normally
because a lot of times you have to have this is exactly what we're doing.
I laid it out for the Cummings Foundation. I said, I don't know, and I'm not going to know until I start talking to people, and they were okay with that, and they still gave me the grant. So
excellent.
Out there, so hopefully we can be helpful, and I hate to see people going through their savings in their 50s and 60s. They shouldn't be.
So, speaking of going back to work and seniors, and what age do you define seniors in your programs? Because, like, you know, Social Security is one age and AARP is a different age, and, you know.
I have my AARP card as of this summer.
Okay.
Actually.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
They've been bugging me for the past 20 years, and
Yeah.
I'm still not eligible yet, but I'm getting
No,
real
they were
close.
bugging me before I turned old enough, but I turned old enough in
It's
June.
like in my 20s. I'm like, no.
I
But
was
anyway,
in my 30s.
okay.
So for us, the state says 60.
Okay.
So we go by what the state says because that's what our funds from the state are actually based on.
Okay.
And but if somebody has Alzheimer's, a diagnosis of Alzheimer's,
Okay.
then any age, whatever age they are,
Okay.
at
Age of diagnosis.
I mean, you could be
Okay.
30 and have Alzheimer's, and come on in.
Actually, I had a show on that too. And we talked
That's
about
good.
that very thing. So, where, you know, we briefly talked about funding. Where does your funding come from?
I get funding from various places.
From the state?
I get it from the
We
state,
mentioned.
the town,
The town, okay.
and private grants. So Cummings Foundation, Leahy Clinic is very generous.
Okay.
The Burlington Cultural Council, we get money from them.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty much the base.
Now, for some of the private funding, do you have to apply for certain grants, or is it just designated as part of the community?
Usually it's a grant.
Or, okay.
Yeah. I don't have a friends group, so I can't do any actual fundraising. So
okay.
if I have to raise money, say for the senior prom in April that we do
Okay.
for the seniors.
Yeah, I want to
the
find out
over-
more about
the
that. I
over
saw
60
clips of the
seniors,
show. Like wild. I
yeah.
love it.
Oh yeah. So for that, I can fundraise for that specific event. So I
Okay.
send out letters requesting
Like restricted funds
donations
for.
specifically for that
Okay.
event. People can donate to us. They absolutely can send us donations.
Okay.
I just can't
Ask
do
for them.
fundraising. Yeah.
You
So-
can't have that, you know, what
Right.
is it? Call to action. I think
Is it?
that's,
Okay, yeah. So I mean, if someone, we can be put, you could put us in your estate and bequeath us money, and folks have done that.
Okay.
Or you can say, if someone dies, please, donations.
In lieu of
come-
flowers.
Yeah, go to the Council on Aging, and people have done that.
Okay.
So those are definitely possible, or just some people just pop in and say, oh, you guys do so much, let me give you a check. I'm like, oh, thank you. So.
See, I'd end up baking cookies, instead, but
Yeah.
you probably don't want those. But now,
Bake sale. We did a bake sale for the Alzheimer's Association.
Okay. Now, it may have been a little slip, but you mentioned Senior Center. Is Senior Center synonymous with Council on Aging, or is the Senior Center just where the Council on Aging is located, or?
It can be a complicated question, actually.
Sorry. If you don't want to answer that, we can move on. There's plenty to choose from.
It's actually a really good question.
Okay.
So in Burlington, the Council on Aging runs the Senior Center.
Okay.
So we are
So it's like a parent
kind of one and the same.
Okay.
Other centers, other towns do it very differently. The Council on Aging is the government body. It's the board.
Okay.
And then the Senior Center is the place where people go.
Okay.
So some places
Where the
don't have
board
senior
does their
centers.
work, in
Yes.
essence. Okay.
Although
or
really nowadays
runs
it's
their program.
staff that does it, but that's how
Okay.
it's set up. There are towns where the boards run the Council on Aging, but for the most part, now staff does it.
Okay.
They've gotten, the Councils on Aging have gotten much more professional. So although
okay.
we have boards that advise us and kind of
Okay.
our eyes and ears out in the community, staff does all the work.
Okay, because I actually wanted to ask you about the board and what is the role of the board, and is it an elected position, and is it, who elects them? Is it, the staff? Yeah, tell me more about the board.
So the board is appointed by the town administrator, by John Petrin.
Okay.
Of the board's choosing, my choosing, John's choosing. Somebody good comes along that one of us really likes. We'll ask them if they'd like to be
Okay.
a member.
Is the board like a set number, so you have to wait for somebody to step down?
Yeah,
or-
so we
Okay.
have 10 positions,
Okay.
3 of which are alternates.
Okay.
So the alternates don't vote
Okay.
unless
So
one
is
of
that
the
in
5 is
addition to
out.
the 10? So there's 10
There's-
voting?
there's
or
7 voting,
7 voting and 3 alternates?
3 alternates.
Okay.
Mhm.
And is there like a president and vice president of the board, or is
There's
it
a
just
chair, a vice chair, and a secretary.
Okay.
Very, very.
And how often do they
official.
meet? And you said they're like the eyes and the ears in the community.
Yep.
And like,
So we meet.
what do they do?
We meet monthly.
Now,
September
do they have to be
through
seniors?
June. No.
Oh, okay.
They have to live in Burlington.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the only requisite.
Okay.
And we meet at 4 o'clock on Wednesdays,
Okay.
so that people who are still working can still be part of it. They just would have to leave early that day. It used to be in the evenings, like 7 o'clock at night, and I had to keep moving it when I was in graduate school.
Yeah.
So finally I said, you know what, let's do this at 10 o'clock in the morning when seniors are out and about.
But then you had the conflict with other people who worked.
You have the conflict with other people with work, and then we had conflict with people who wanted to be exercising, not coming to the board
Okay.
meeting.
Wanted to participate in the senior
Yes,
activities.
yes.
Okay.
So we moved it to 4 o'clock on Wednesdays when nothing is happening.
Well, now there's something
Now there's
something happening.
Mhm.
So,
And I should say it's the second Wednesday of the month.
okay. Now, can anybody come to the board? Do you
Anybody
have
can
like
come
an annual open board meeting, or?
We have citizen time,
Okay.
like the selectmen do. So if somebody wants to talk to us, they can come and talk.
Neat.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully with good things, not complaining.
What would there be to complain about?
People
You're
always
such a
complaining.
wonderful person.
Oh, thank you.
So, you mentioned that you've been with the Council on Aging for 14 years. How long has Burlington had some incarnation of the Council on Aging?
The Council on Aging was incarnated.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was like before
carnated.
it was established.
Established by a vote of town meeting in like 1975.
Oh, okay.
76, maybe? We have an anniversary coming up. So 40th anniversary coming up. In a couple.
Well, seeing that we're
next year.
almost done with
I think it was
2015,
1976.
so maybe it's 76.
Yeah, 76. And I wanted to do something for it, but of course now we're going to be renovating, so maybe, so who knows. We'll have to work on it. But anyhow.
You could have something off-site.
We could. The Burlington Senior Citizen Organization
Okay.
was a private senior organization established to have parties. That was their mission.
Okay. That
was their
sounds a
mission.
pretty cool
It was-
mission to me.
It was a social group. They started back in the 60s,
Okay.
and they were in the basement of the Union School.
What's the Union School? I'm a transplant, so.
Police station.
Okay. Ooh, yeah.
So where the cells are now, the seniors used to hang out. Yeah.
Charming.
Yeah, really charming.
Okay.
So, 1989, I think,
Okay.
they were scheduled to move into present location
Okay.
when there was a fire, and it got put off to 91, I believe.
Oh. Okay.
So I actually just found some pictures of a party
Wow.
that happened in the basement of the Union School,
Oh, wow.
and you can see like the basement walls.
Oh,
you know.
okay. Like stone or?
Yeah, stone
Wow.
foundation. It's kind of cool. I'm trying to find out who the people in the pictures are actually, so if
Oh.
anyone wants to come by the Senior Center and look. It's from 1989 to 1990. It was the set
Okay.
Christmas party, which was an intergenerational program at the high school.
Oh, okay. So you moved to the current location early 90s.
Early 90s.
And you've been there ever since. Now you share that space with the Beeline and Rec Department.
The rec department, youth and family,
Okay.
veterans, and Board of Health.
Oh, veterans is there too. Okay.
Yeah, they're upstairs,
And you're one big happy family.
for the most part. Yeah. Except for the fact that we're so crammed for space, it's not even funny.
Okay, so how many do you have like statistics at all about how many seniors generally participate in Council on Aging activities?
I do.
Excellent.
Of course I do. So all told,
And you don't have any notes. I'm so impressed.
last year, between people coming into the center,
Okay.
rides provided, social services, and phone calls,
Okay.
we reached 1,642 people.
Different people. So it's not like the same person doing something
That
a
is
thousand
the
times.
unduplicated number.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, do you know roughly how many of those are like regulars that
about
come
600
weekly?
that come into the senior center.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah, I like
So
that
what
number.
kind of programs actually there's like an exercise program you said?
We have a lot of exercise programs.
Okay.
We have, on a Monday, say,
Okay.
we have an 8 o'clock class.
Okay.
We have a 9:30 class. We have a 10 o'clock class. And we have a 10:20 class.
Okay, now who teaches these? Are there volunteers that teach this? Or
So
do you
the
have
8
like...
o'clock class on
Okay.
Mondays and Wednesdays is somebody from Leahy Clinic
Okay.
that they send over.
Okay.
We have Judy upstairs in the rec,
Okay.
who does Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And then we have everybody's love, Sophia, who is a bombshell. She is so fit. She teaches Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
I'm so jealous of those people.
Yeah.
You know,
But she teaches a ton of classes, and she's a personal trainer. So.
Yeah. If I worked that hard, I'd probably.
Yeah. So she teaches 2 classes, 2 senior stretch classes, we call them, but it's not just stretching. On Mondays and Fridays, 1 on Wednesdays because she has clients and she can't do 2.
Okay.
And then she also teaches yoga on Fridays.
Oh. Okay. Now, are there other? Okay. I'll let you finish because I'm still.
We have line dancing on Tuesdays.
Cool.
There's Zumba Gold through the recreation department on Tuesdays at noontime, which takes place in the senior center.
Oh, okay.
Apparently they want to be in the senior center.
Why not?
That's fine. Zumba Gold. And then we have Tai Chi on Thursdays.
Ooh. Now, do they ever, like in warm weather, do they ever go over to the common and do? Because I've seen like in some communities where they have like the Tai Chi.
No, we haven't done that. And tap dancing came across my desk, and I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. And then I realized I have no place to put it.
Oh, yeah, that would probably wreak havoc on your floors too.
Yeah, so we'll wait till we renovate.
Okay.
And then I'll stick it in somewhere.
So you're renovating your existing space?
So, 33 Center Street, the old Bay Bank building.
Oh.
Town bought that.
Wait, Old Bay Bank, which is also the Old Citizens? I don't remember Bay Bank.
I thought it was Bay Bank way, way back.
Well, I'm
whatever.
a transplant.
Okay.
So the
brick building that has an ATM thing
yes.
in front of it. Yes.
Okay. So kind of next to Town Hall. Mm-hmm. And it kind of has that. Okay.
So Board of Health and Youth and Family are going in there.
They're going in 33?
Yeah.
Okay.
At some point when we renovate in the very distant future, at this point it feels like. And then...
So they're renovating that building and they're moving.
Yes.
Which opens up space in the existing location. Oh, and then you're...
So we're going to make our offices larger.
Okay.
And bring veterans downstairs, so they'll be like in the suite kind of behind us.
Okay.
But the door I said I want a door connecting because I don't want to send people out into the cold hallway.
Yeah.
Because, that doesn't seem very warm and fuzzy.
Okay.
And then we're going to have like a meeting space in the front.
Okay.
So the front of the building will become the front of the building. So seniors coming to the building will enter through those front doors.
Okay.
Which will be revamped in some way.
Okay.
The side doors will be, you could probably
side
exit
doors.
out them, but they're side doors. They're not how you enter the building. And we'll have like a nice meeting space in there. My big thing is I really want a gas fireplace.
Ooh.
So we can just flip the switch and in the winter you come in and there's a fire.
That'd be so nice.
They're not very expensive, and I think it's just a really nice way to really warm up the environment. And then we'll have like a little
warm
eating area
and heat
for them.
and also warm and fuzzy.
Yeah. We do not get any points on warm and fuzzy in that place because it's so...
It's not real warm and fuzzy.
It's not warm and fuzzy. And you walk in and you're like, I don't even know where I'm going.
I have noticed that, yes.
Yeah. And I don't like that. I don't, I can't tell you how many people I've caught in the hallway just going, I'm like, can I help you find something?
Yeah, I'm like, I've been in that building a bunch of times and I don't think I know where you are.
We're on the bottom floor, front of the building, right-hand side.
Okay. All right, so during this renovation, where are you going? Are you staying there?
I'm assuming we're going to go upstairs where the offices are now.
Okay.
And then come back downstairs.
Okay.
We're going to lose some activities while we're doing it.
Okay.
But I'm more concerned about keeping the offices open. So, so the social services
because it sounds pretty major renovations going on there, and I'm like, how are you gonna?
There's nowhere to put us. We're just gonna have to go upstairs and camp out until they get the downstairs suite.
Put a tent on the common. No, I'm.
That might work if it's summer.
If it's summer, ooh.
I would not mind that at all.
There you go. So what's the timeline for these renovations? Do you know yet, or?
I don't. I really don't.
Okay. Soon.
Soon. Yeah. They went out for bid.
Okay.
On 33 Center Street, and it came back $500,000 over budget. So I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They talked about going out for bid again this fall.
So where's all the money coming from that's funding this renovation?
Town meeting approved it.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were
May.
going to have like another really big bake sale.
Yeah, that'd be a big sale, wouldn't it?
Really big bake
Yeah.
sale. Okay. So we talked about exercise classes. Are there other classes or other activities or
absolutely.
Parties or, you know?
There's parties. There's so once a month we have Richard LaPierre comes in the evening and does a lecture series on influential people.
Okay.
We have the New Orleans Jazz Band that is as of November we're changing their schedule.
Okay.
They're going to be coming the second and fourth Monday nights at 7. And on Wednesdays, the first Wednesday of the month at noontime.
Okay.
Which I'm thrilled with. So that people who don't drive can now come.
Okay. How would somebody get the schedule? Is there a newsletter that goes out
have a
with
newsletter
this?
that goes
Kind of
out.
like the rec department does? Okay.
Newsletter goes out to everybody who has a person over 60 in their household.
Oh.
So we send out over 3,600 newsletters.
Wow. And a third of those people participate in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
to top that off, 25% give or take of the population is senior.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, just kind of in my own personal life, my dad, who lives out in the western part of the state, volunteers for his senior center. I'm not exactly sure how it's configured like we talked about. But they have a travel club, and there are like 4 coordinators that plan like a couple dozen trips every year, like bus trips, and they do like a couple of overnights. Does Burlington do any
We have
like
a person who does do
like bus trips to, you know?
Foxwoods?
Yeah.
Higginson? Yeah.
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 I'm gambling away my children's inheritance and having fun doing it.
So Ellie O'Connell, who used to work for the Beeline,
Okay.
now organizes the trips for us. It's the trips are funky because all of the trips give free trips. So you contact the agencies and they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you, we're going to give you this free trip, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. As town employees, we can't accept those kind of gifts.
Okay.
So it's hard for us to actually run these trips. So you need the volunteers.
Oh.
So Ellie does that, and she takes suggestions. She goes to a lot of shows. Marisa Teros, who used to be the clerk when I first started, she does the Foxwoods trip once a month.
Once a month. Ooh. Cool. Okay, I'm making you do all the talking. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So, okay, what are some of the other or did you want to talk more about the activities, or just
so what we so
I don't want to cut you off.
No, that's okay. We have educational programs that come in. Leahy's done a whole series of speakers, and we have somebody who comes in from Lexington Healthcare, and she does games on one Wednesday a month. So we have a huge variety. We have people that come in and they knit on Tuesday afternoons. We have a quilting class. So we try to keep it varied, and I'm always looking for new things that are really
because
cheap.
I'm going to talk to you after the show because I do have an idea for you.
Okay, awesome.
So just remind me afterwards.
Okay.
So what are some of the other services that are provided? These are, classes and getting out of the house and doing stuff.
Right.
But earlier in the show, you mentioned some of the other services.
So the outreach workers do the social services.
Okay, and what do they do?
And they can either meet with you in the office or they can meet with you at your home if you can't come in. We like to go to the home because then we can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Some people just have trouble keeping the house clean. Some people can't do grocery shopping. Some people are just in like dire financial straits and just don't know where to go for help.
Okay.
So it's up to the outreach workers to kind of unravel that.
So do the outreach workers, are they also social workers?
They happen to be.
They happen, okay. So
They
it's
don't
not
have
a requirement,
to be, but they happen to be.
Okay.
I have 2 social workers and 1 nurse.
Oh,
so
okay.
I have very, very skilled women working for me, which
Excellent.
is awesome. So that they can help unravel if they need financial services or if they need just home care services.
Okay.
So Minuteman Senior Services is our local home care or aging services access point.
Oh, okay.
And they will put in the home care. We did Meals on Wheels.
Okay.
So
Meals on Wheels is also under your umbrella?
Minuteman.
Okay.
But it goes out of our office. So the caterer drops the food off.
And again, my dad was also, through his senior center, paying the bills, writing the checks.
Money manager?
Yeah.
That's scary to have that going through the senior centers.
Well, yeah, I don't know exactly how it's structured.
Minuteman does it for us.
Okay.
And they're bonded. So if all of a sudden $50,000 is missing, Minuteman bill paying though.
Oh, he doesn't pay him. He just, organizes.
Okay. So Minuteman does all those. Plus, they have they'll subsidize adult health for folks who just need to be better entertained than they can be at the senior center. So the senior center, you need to be very independent. You need to be able to toilet independently, eat independently, move around independently. You can be in a wheelchair, but you need to be able to do that independently. Adult health, there's nurses there, there's aides there that can assist. And it's just for the day, so that it gives caregivers a break.
So they come to the senior center, taken care of, like I don't want to sound condescending or anything, but it's like a babysitter for the day.
Yeah, and that's not we don't do that.
Okay.
That's Cooperative Elder Services, which is a private nonprofit corporation or agency, and so Minuteman will pay for people to go there when they no longer can do the senior center or be at home alone all day.
Okay. Now, backing up a little bit, what is Minuteman, and how is that different from Council on Aging?
So Minuteman is a nonprofit agency.
Okay, so like a partnering organization for you, or?
Yeah, very much so. They we work a lot with them.
Okay.
They are funded by the state, but mostly they're going by grants and fundraising.
Okay.
They do get money from the state, though.
Okay.
And they have the protective service unit. So when an elder is being abused or neglected or self-neglecting, we report them to Minuteman.
Okay.
I'm a mandated reporter, so I have to report things.
Okay. Because I was wondering about your outreach workers, if they were, mandatory reporters
enough,
or...
They're not, except that they're social workers and nurses.
So
if they were just outreach workers, they would not be mandated, but because they're actually licensed professionals, they're mandated.
Which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of glad that coincidence worked out for you.
I mean, they would anyway, because they're always going to come to me with any issues and concerns, and I would have to report it.
Okay. Now, looking on your website, I noticed something called the SHINE program. Yes. Can you tell me more about the SHINE program?
That is run through Minuteman as well.
Of course.
But they have, the SHINE counselors are actually out in the community, and they're in the senior centers themselves.
Okay.
So we have 2 volunteer SHINE counselors who are trained, all the SHINE counselors are trained like you wouldn't believe.
Okay.
So we have 2 that are volunteer, 1 that is actually paid.
Okay.
And he does several senior centers, so he doesn't just do one. And then one of my outreach workers, Brenda, the full-time outreach worker, is also a SHINE certified counselor. So when she goes to do home visits, she can do those tasks and help people figure out their insurance because the volunteers don't go out to do home visits.
Oh, okay. So backing up a little bit, can we dumb down the SHINE program a little more? What exactly do they do?
So
insurance?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent on that one. It's serving health information needs of everyone.
Okay.
It used to be health insurance needs of elders, but it's since kind of opened up more to anyone on Medicare.
So the whole Schedule D, or what was it a few years ago?
Medicare D, Medicare A, B, C, D, F, G, what? Yeah.
So making sure that you have the right coverage for what you need, the doctors, the medications, Okay, because I was kind of wondering because I am completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's really confusing at best. It changes annually.
okay.
So you have to look at what you're doing.
And it's hard to keep up on all the changes.
It's particularly the prescriptions. So they change them every year.
And some of the pharmaceutical companies change them even more often than that. Oh, this isn't covered anymore, by the way.
Yeah. It's a task and a half to keep on top of it. So what the Shine counselors do is they have you fill out your medication form before you get there.
Okay.
And this is Medicare D mostly.
Okay.
The change is more than Medicare B stuff, but
okay.
they have you fill out a medication form, and then you bring it. You send it to them.
Okay.
So they have a chance to kind of do the homework before you get in there, and kind of come up with maybe the 3 to 5 best
okay.
plans for you.
And
And then they'll walk you through kind of the pros and cons.
Okay.
We can't tell you what you should do,
Right.
but they can kind of advise you on your best options.
Okay.
And
Strongly suggest.
And I would say really pay attention to body language and inflection when they're talking to you,
Ah.
because that'll tell you a lot.
Okay.
And there's no wink, wink, nod, nods. It's just it's a little more subtle than that, but you'll catch it.
But it's there.
It's there.
It's there. So we had mentioned some of the other services, but what about a caregiver support group? Is that like
That was going on when I left.
It was.
Yes. So Brenda leads a caregiver support group twice a month. I think it's twice a month.
Okay.
Second and fourth.
Sounds good
Wednesday,
to me. Well, today is the
check the newsletter.
Today is the fourth
so
Wednesday.
It's from 6 to 7:15.
Okay.
And people come to the senior center who are, caring for folks with cognitive issues.
Okay.
And it's a good chance during the day when the loved ones are being looked after, so they could go then. Some of the assisted livings have them, and different times of day. So maybe somebody could go at lunchtime. We do ours at 6, so people getting off of work could come.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean there's tons of them everywhere.
Now, speaking of assisted living, what is your relationship with them?
So I can tell you that I was at the grand opening of Atria Long Meadow Place, back when they were Long Meadow Place, 20 years ago.
Okay. Has it been 20 years already?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, do I feel old. I was thinking it was the past like 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, no, it's been 20.
Oh my.
Atria's been 20.
Okay.
I'm not sure how long Sunrise has been. Maybe 10-ish.
Okay.
And then Stonebridge is 2, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, my husband was joking because Stonebridge is located right across from his office, and when they were gearing up for opening and they were starting all of their promotional and marketing stuff, apparently, he got a flyer in the mail or something, and he brought it to work, and he says, so when we retire from here, we could just move across the street. So there was a big running joke about that.
Yeah, it's not cheap. You have to really sell your house to. But sometimes, and we've seen the assisted livings work miracles on people's health.
Okay.
You're someone living alone, they're not eating, they're stressed out, they have other issues going on. Bring them to the assisted living.
Sunrise has the like the Alzheimer's and the memory.
All 3 of them do.
All 3 of them do. Okay.
They all do.
Because for some reason I was thinking Sunrise's primary mission was the memory care.
It's a portion. It's not their whole.
Oh, okay.
Thing. Yeah.
I don't know where I got that from.
There's a couple of facilities that are memory care only. I think there's one in Needham, and there's another one somewhere, and I can't.
Well, anyway,
where it is,
tangent. What is your relationship with all of these? I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No, I have a good working relationship with all of them. When they have events, I try to go. We have a Wednesday night supper once a month, and they all come at all 3 of them come twice a year generally.
Okay. Now, do some of the residents come to participate in some of the programs at the senior center, or do they have their own, so it's not necessary?
Both.
Okay.
They do have a lot But sometimes there's stuff at the senior center and that the seniors want to come to.
Okay.
We have one of the facilities has a senior that used to work for me as my receptionist.
Okay.
And her husband was very involved in town things. So she still comes to the senior center and comes to the knitting class.
Excellent.
So yeah, and they bring her every Tuesday.
Okay. Now we talked about earlier the van service, the little mini buses. Well, there's also the Beeline, and there's also the MBTA, the Ride.
The Ride.
I've always been curious. I've seen the Ride, and I'm like, okay, what is that exactly, and how is that different from taxi services? Can you kind of give me the
so a taxi
nickel
service,
tour of?
Yeah. So a taxi service picks you up when you want them to pick you up mostly, and takes you where you want to go, and picks you back up when you want to be picked up.
Is that what the
Ride's
Ride
a little more
does?
difficult.
Okay.
You have to call 24 hours in advance.
Okay.
And they'll pick you up, take you to your appointment.
Okay.
When they can fit you in, like it won't be, half an hour.
Because it's like all of metropolitan Boston, MBT.
Yes.
Okay.
And they'll pick you up after your appointment, but that time is already set, and you could be sitting there for an hour or two waiting for your ride. It's also only for folks that live within a quarter mile of an MBTA
Hub?
line.
Line? Okay.
Yeah.
Do we do, oh, you mean like the bus service is considered a line? Or is it just like subway?
And actually, Beeline, I believe, is also considered a line because it's partially funded.
Oh,
I think that's how we work it.
And Beeline has a set
They have a set
schedule. So your shuttle service kind of gets all of the input from who needs a ride and maps it out from there and creates a schedule, where the Beeline is, this is what we're doing, take it or leave it type thing.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I don't want to sound harsh because...
But it is, and we used to have
I love the Beeline. When my son
love
was
the
like
Beeline.
2, I used to like get him out of his rec department class, and we used to get on the Beeline and just ride around town because he loved riding in a bus.
So there used to be 3 buses. Now there's only 2 buses.
Oh.
When there was 3 buses,
Okay.
it would go more into the neighborhoods, and seniors had an easier time using the Beeline.
Okay.
Today it's a lot harder for them to use the Beeline because it doesn't go into the neighborhoods as far.
Okay.
So you really have to kind of be on the.
So it's kind of hard to get up to the senior center to catch the bus or get to town hall or get to...
Yeah. It's a little more difficult than it was.
Okay. So that's why you're there.
That's why we're here.
Well, not you personally, but...
Well, yeah, me personally.
Or do you ride the bus? You drive the bus?
I do not drive it.
You do not drive the bus?
I do not drive it. That thing is huge, and
It's
I
huge.
can't drive it. You wouldn't want me to.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, again, reading your website, there were a lot of different programs, like the FISH program. What is a FISH program?
So FISH is run through Youth and Family. It's a volunteer ride service. So you call the day before and you say, I need to go to Leahy.
Okay.
I need to go to Mass General. I think they only have 1 volunteer that goes to Boston at this point.
Okay.
I'm sure they would love some volunteers. But you call the day before.
So it's like a volunteer MBTA ride, kind of? Not
No,
really.
it's just volunteer. People use their own cars to drive folks to their appointments.
But it's the same concept as you call 24 hours in advance. And okay. So it's volunteer based, so it might not be as available.
Yeah, it's not quite as available as other modes of transportation.
Okay. What is the Yellow Alert program? We're getting close to running out of time, so I have like a whole bunch of questions.
Yellow Alert is now actually called Green Alert.
Green Alert.
Change that. Leahy has graciously taken it on, and so that it will go out to other communities as well. So it's not just in Burlington. So Green Alert is a file of life for your car. And it has a few more questions than your file of life does. Are you a caretaker for someone? Do you have to pick someone up from school? Do you have a pet at home? Is somebody at home who's dependent on you? These are really important questions if you're in a car accident and if you had, say, your husband's at home with Alzheimer's, we need to know that so we can go get him and put him somewhere safe. Or call a family member to make sure that he's picked up. Or do you have a grandchild that's going to be getting off the school bus and you're not going to be there? So
does it stay in the car? Or?
Stays in the glove compartment. It also has all your medical history as well.
Oh,
so when you can't speak for yourself, just like File of Life. And there's a sticker that goes in the back window of your car.
Okay.
So that
I think when I lived in Florida, they had those little stickers. I forgot what they were.
So if you're in an accident, or if you're diabetic and you go into into shock, or whatever reason you can't speak for yourself, it's there. They know they know the information is in the glove box in a very bright envelope that can be seen easily. And
it's like lime green.
It is lime green, and or yellow.
Oh, I was just guessing. I'm just saying.
No, it is
green,
lime green. It's Leahy colors.
Oh,
so that big popping green. So I think it's a great program. I've had it at the Yellow Alert in Burlington for a long time, and I'm glad that I've managed to kind of get it out there now a little bit farther. So you don't have to stay in Burlington to be safe. You can go to other communities within the Leahy catchment area. Yeah,
whatever it's called. Okay, I also read something about the Sunshine Program. What is the Sunshine Program?
So, the Sunshine Program was actually run by the BSCO, the Burlington Senior Citizen Organization.
Okay.
And if somebody would be sick or hurt or whatever, and they would send a card, or if someone passed away, they'd send a card.
Okay.
So we've taken that on ourselves.
Neat.
So we do that. So if someone is sick and you want us to send them a card from the Council on Aging, we can do that.
Okay. Now, can you be the person to send the card? Like, I want to volunteer for the Sunshine Program, and I will,
We haven't had a volunteer do it in a long time, but I would love to have a volunteer do it. It needs to be someone who's around the center all the time, that knows the folks and knows what's going on, but love to have a volunteer for that.
Because I'm just thinking, have like little kids make little
that's
cards or something, and
yeah,
I don't know, kind of like Flatbread Pizza has, kids draw the covers of the menus or something. That would be kind of fun.
That's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. We'll have to talk about that later.
We'll chat.
Yeah.
We'll have my people call your people, and they'll do lunch.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have any people. Do you have people?
No.
Okay. We'll do lunch.
Okay, we'll do lunch. That sounds like a plan. Okay. So how would did you answer that? Because I got sidetracked.
Sunshine?
So how would somebody participate in Sunshine either on from the sending end or the receiving end?
So if somebody needs a card, if someone's sick or they're in the hospital or whatever, just call us and we can send a card out to them.
Okay.
We'll have to work on getting a volunteer or some volunteers to come in and do it, because they used to do it for us.
Cool. How would somebody access the services? We've talked a lot about many of the services, many of the classes, everything that's going on.
Best thing to do is to call us or come in.
Okay.
I'd say even call us, because you probably need an appointment if you need services.
And how would they just show up?
Just show up or call and say, I need some help. I'm going to talk to one of the outreach workers.
Now, what kind of volunteer, we touched upon this a little bit. If somebody wanted to volunteer, how would they go about it? What are some of the different roles that you see, either for individuals coming in, for groups coming in?
A lot of our volunteers work in the kitchen, either delivering the meals or serving the meals, getting the meals ready to go out.
Okay, so you also have like a cafeteria there that people could come, kind of like a school lunch program for seniors?
Exactly.
Okay.
Call it congregate meals.
Sorry.
That's okay. So same meals as the home delivered meals.
Okay.
But yeah, so we
But you get to eat with a bunch of your friends.
Exactly. And the program's been really going downhill across the nation. Folks aren't coming to the congregate meals as much. And in Burlington, it's even harder, because look at how many restaurants we have and how many things we have to do in Burlington. It's very hard to get people to come in and eat. So if you want to come and join some seniors and have lunch.
Now, when I was reading about that, I was also thinking, like, my father-in-law lived in Chelmsford, and I think it was once a month at his senior center, they had a military or veterans breakfast.
Okay.
So all the veterans got together, regardless of where and how and which military branch they served, and they just got together for breakfast.
Nice. So I've actually started working with our veterans agent, Chris Hanifin, who started in July.
Okay.
And we have started, as of this fall, a veterans group that's going to meet every other month.
Excellent.
I'm letting them feel their way. You know,
Okay.
it's Chris's and the veteran's baby. I'm not a veteran. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I'm giving them the space, and they can do with it as they will. If they want to do, I like the idea of breakfast, though. I do.
There you go.
I'll have to mention that.
Pancake breakfast. So,
Yeah.
but you know what? We're out of time.
Oh no!
So
Fun.
thank you very much for coming. I learned a lot, and
good.
you know, a little brain. I don't know if you saw the little wisps of
Yeah.
smoke coming out the ears, because I have a few ideas for you.
Okay, awesome.
And I also want to thank everyone at home for tuning in this evening, and hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as I did. And hey, stay warm, stay dry, and I will see you around town. Have a great night. Good night.